In this video, I'm going to show you how to get set up to play the restored online multiplayer for Killzone 2. By restored, I mean a private server. The official Sony server for the game was taken down many years ago. It can be played on either the PS3 emulator or a PS3 console. I made a separate video on how to get set up on the emulator, so please jump to that one if that's how you prefer to play. This current video will only cover the PS3 setup. The first thing you need to do is get a copy of the game. It can be from any region, and you can use the Killzone Trilogy Edition if that's what you have. Then make sure you have updated the game to the latest version, which is 1.29. If you don't update it, you won't be able to play the multiplayer. You can update it by selecting the game on the PS3 menu and hitting the triangle button, then selecting Check for Update. Next, you have to change the DNS. To do that, go to Settings, then Network Settings, and then select Internet Connection Settings. On this first option, select Custom. The rest of the settings you have are fine, but you're going to adjust a couple of more things. Shuffle through them until you get to this screen that says DNS Setting, and set it to Manual if it's not already. Then on the next screen, put in this DNS number in the first field. And put all 8s in the second field. Then shuffle forward and hit Save. What you have done so far is the bare minimum for getting set up to play the multiplayer. But I strongly suggest you watch all the chapters remaining in this video because new players and returning players often have trouble with certain things, and I want to help them. Right now though, I'm going to have you test your connection, start the game up, and from the main menu choose Warzone. If you have not already signed in, you might get this screen asking you to log in with your account information. And then you should arrive at this screen asking you to accept the license agreement. If you get an error message, you may have done something wrong with the internet connection settings. So go back into those and just make sure you have the right DNS number. If you get this region screen, go ahead and select the only one available. In the future, there could be more than one available. In that case, just choose the one that's closer to you. This screen here just says it's currently in alpha testing. Hit X to continue. Select Play on the left and select Join on the right. If you made it this far, then your setup is good. Next, I want to show you the proper way to find matches, because all the time I hear people saying I can't find a match, even though I know a match is actually going on. First of all, just know that the PS Rewired website has a real-time count of how many people are playing. Just go to the website and click on Killzone 2, and you'll see the number of players, their usernames, and some details about the matches they are in. The highest number of players are on Saturdays, but there are matches happening every day. When you're searching for those matches using the PS3, make sure you set the fields as shown here. I put sometimes no for ranked match because every once in a while someone will create an unranked match, like 1 in every 200 or so. If you know there are games being played, but they aren't coming up when you do this search, just know that if a match is full, it will not appear on the search results. And FYI, those max limits on the website are not that accurate. Now, some people get irritated because they can't enter a full match, but just know that people leave matches all the time. So keep hitting square, then X to refresh the results. Doing that, I've never had to wait longer than a minute to enter a match. If you see a match that has a lock symbol next to it, it means nobody can enter that match without a password. Typically, it's veteran players playing in a small match amongst themselves. If you insist on joining, reach out to one of the players via the PlayStation Network or the PS Rewired Discord and ask if they can provide you with the password. If you want more information on when people play, or if you want to chat with other players, I suggest you join the PS Rewired Discord. I'll put an invite in the description of this video. When you get in there, you won't be able to see the Killzone chat channels until you go into select your game role and click on the Killzone icon that's in there. Next, I want to suggest that you get a save file that has every ability and every weapon unlocked. If you ask around on that Discord, someone can provide you with a file. If you prefer the slow route of unlocking the weapons and abilities yourself, just know that probably 95% of the player base has everything unlocked, so you will be at a massive disadvantage, both you and your team. Here are the technical details on how to get a save file onto your PS3. This part of the video was from a previous video, so my voice may sound a little bit different. You'll need a PC or laptop and a thumb drive, also known as a USB drive or a flash drive. Insert the thumb drive into the laptop or PC. The drive will appear in the File Explorer window. Right-click it and select Properties. Right here next to File System, it needs to say FAT32. If it isn't FAT32, you need to format it. This means you will lose everything on the thumb drive. So if you have something you want to keep, move it to your hard drive for now. Just make sure you have the thumb drive selected when you do this. If you accidentally format your main drive, it'll be a very bad situation. To format, right-click on the thumb drive and select Format. Make sure FAT32 is selected under File System, then click Start, hit OK to this pop-up, and within seconds it'll be done. Next, you need to find wherever your save data is. Perhaps you have it somewhere on your main drive, or perhaps you know a website that has the file. Either way, in order for the PS3 to properly read the file, there needs to be a 4-layer file structure in place on that thumb drive. But when you find a PS3 save on the internet, it will typically be one folder, and the name of that folder will be the game's serial number, followed by some words or some code. Inside that folder will typically be several files of different types, including PFD and SFO. That entire set of files represents one save file. If you just dump that serial number folder and its contents into your thumb drive, the PS3 will not be able to read it. First, you have to have a folder called PS3, all uppercase with no spaces. So go ahead and create that on the thumb drive. Then inside that one, make another folder called Save Data, all caps, no spaces. Then take that serial number folder and its contents and drag it into the Save Data folder. If there's more than one serial number folder for the save, go ahead and drag them one at a time into the Save Data folder. Also know that if you have the North American version of the game, you need a North American version of the save. An EU version will not work. If you Google the serial number that was in the name of the folder, you'll learn what region that file is for. Take that thumb drive and place it into your PS3. On the dashboard, go to the Game section and go into Saved Data Utility, then USB device. If everything was done correctly, it'll read the save file and state the name of the game. If it doesn't, go back and make sure the folder path is correct. It's also possible that someone gave you a bad save file. If it is reading the file correctly, you now need to move it to your PS3. Hit triangle and a small menu will appear. Select Copy. It'll just add it if you have no saved data for that game up to this point. But if you already have saved data for the game, it'll ask you if you want to override it. Go ahead and hit yes to that. It'll ask you one last time. Select yes again. It'll go through the motions, and you have now transferred your save to your PS3. Another thing that people have trouble with is the controls. I recommend you go into your settings and make sure your high precision box is checked. If you don't have that checked, then you're not going to be able to hit anything. I suggest you also do alternate 2 as the button mapping, because that best resembles modern first-person shooters. As for the sensitivity, I have been increasing it over time as I got better at the game. If you're just starting off, you may not want to do 100% sensitivity like I did here, but you can if you want. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, I need to go out and purchase a PS3 gamepad to play this. I do not recommend doing that because the gamepads that are out there are going to be super used and the thumbsticks are probably not going to be as accurate as they were when they were new. Also, the used market is full of counterfeits that will not perform as well for you. The counterfeits look almost like the real ones. But what most people don't know is that you can actually use a DualShock 4 or a DualSense on your PS3, and it plays just fine for the multiplayer. I use a DualSense when I'm playing the multiplayer. If you use a DualSense, there are a couple of drawbacks. You cannot get through the campaign mode because there's these parts where you have to turn these valves with the motion sensors. The motion sensors inside a DualSense do not work as motion sensors for a PS3. Also, the home button on the DualSense does not work as a home button, but you can always turn off the PS3 by holding down the power button. I often get asked about trophies. Yes, you can get multiplayer trophies by playing on this private server. At the time of this video, however, you cannot get the ones that involve online leaderboards because there are no longer online leaderboards. It's possible that feature may get restored at a future date, and if that happens, the leaderboard trophies may become available again. I'm not sure. Next, let's talk about DLC. There are some multiplayer maps that were only available via DLC back in the day. Those maps are no longer sold by Sony. If you already bought them back then and still have them on your PS3, they will work in this multiplayer. I've also heard that you can get DLC codes with the Killzone Trilogy release, but I've also read that those codes will not work should you find them. This is all a moot point though, because it's rare that anyone creates a match with the DLC maps. There's just not enough players that have those maps installed. Of course, as we get more players, it's possible that the trends will change. If you don't already have those DLC maps, but you still want them, you will have to resort to piracy. PS Rewired does not support piracy, so do not go onto their Discord asking for files. YouTube also forbids creators like me from showing where to get such files. It's a journey you will have to do on your own. That's all I have to tell you today. See you on the battlefield.